Hey guys, back here with Tua for another video. This video is going to be a lot different than any other one that I've done before in the past. I'm actually going to be talking with another Bull Mastiff owner, my friend Ashton, and we're just going to be going over several topics that we kind of talked about and discussed and that we feel are very important for Bull Mastiff owners to know and be familiar with. And we'll basically just kind of discuss back and forth with each other, compare and contrast what works, what doesn't, things that we do similar, things that we do different, and just have a nice discussion. And we've been talking about doing some sort of video like this for a while, and we just never really found the time, but I'm really glad that we were able to pin this time down now and get it done. And hopefully we can kind of turn this into like a little monthly segment, do a video like this once a month, just to kind of touch base with each other, see how Tua's doing, see how his dogs Con and Noir are doing, and just basically bounce ideas off of each other, help each other out. And then also be bouncing ideas off of all of you guys, the viewers. So definitely as you're watching this, please go ahead, ask any questions down in the comment section or make any comments that you have, just stuff off the top of your head. And we'll be sure to try and hit on those in the next video that we do like this. So if you're interested in learning more about the Bull Mastiff breed, go ahead, stick around, and I think you're really gonna enjoy this. We can kind of just go ahead and get started. Just start with introducing ourselves. For those of you that don't know me, if you're one of Ashton's followers on Instagram, my name's Sean. I'm a very experienced dog owner, but I don't really consider myself an expert by any means. I just have a lot of real world experience, owned dogs my whole life, did lots of puppy training classes, things like that, growing up with dogs. I don't really do them anymore. I kind of know exactly, what they teach in those. So I just do that myself. Tua is my first Bull Mastiff. My most recent dog before Tua was a Doberman Pinscher. And as long as Tua's right here on camera, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce him too as well. He's 14 months old. He's 138 pounds, 29 and a half inches tall at the shoulder, which is very tall for a Bull Mastiff. Probably a good inch and a half taller than they're supposed to get, I guess, by breed standards. But that's pretty much all I got for myself and Tua, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Ashton. We do a Instagram page, Con the Bull Mastiff. We have two Bull Mastiffs. These are our first two Bull Mastiffs, but Con was our first Bull Mastiff, so he's kind of the star of the show. Con is now 9 months. He's about 123 pounds, about 26 inches at the withers. He is Red Fawn Brindle. We picked him up from Golden Mountain Bull Mastiffs in Lebanon, Oregon. He's on a fully raw diet. I mean, we're going to go through a lot of different stuff, but just kind of an introduction. Come.
You said he weighs how much?
Just so you guys can kind of, he's 123 pounds.
Holy crap.
And this is our big boy.
He's going to be big at 9 months.
Yeah, he's a big boy. His dad was 180, so.
He's only 15 behind Tua.
Yeah, and about
6
months, 7 months younger.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's an absolute monster, so. Here you go, bud. Want to say hi to everyone? Yeah.
That big head.
Yeah, big old head on this guy.
Yeah.
So Con is above average for weight for his age. A lot of his siblings are on par with the breed standard. Con is a little bit larger. He was a pretty big pup too. I think he was the second largest in his litter as well. So he's going to be a big boy. We're expecting between 150 and 165 pounds for him.
Okay. And you said dad was 180?
Yeah, dad was 180.
Okay, so Tua's dad was 150. So, okay, that'll be interesting to track.
So Tua's on track.
Oh yeah, for sure. Growth's definitely slow. Like, what did he just gain for weight like in the last month? I don't know if you track it like I do that close.
Yeah. So he's slowed down drastically around like month 9. Like probably around like month 8, he hit 120 pounds in. Actually, like right before month 8, and then he got sick. He lost a lot of weight there. He dropped back down to like maybe 114, and then he packed it back on. But he went from about 5 pounds a week to probably about 4 to 6 pounds a month. So he's kind of slowing down pretty drastically.
Right. So Tua in the last month, between 13 and 14 months, did 3.5 pounds the whole month. So yeah, definitely slowing down. But since we're kind of talking about weight, let's just kind of move on to the age milestone things. I guess what I had written down for notes for milestones was kind of more pertaining to their weight. I guess that's what I was thinking about off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. He hit 50 pounds at 17 weeks of age. He hit 100 pounds at 33 weeks of age. And then we had him, I thought potty training was kind of like a milestone too. When was he potty trained? I'd say he was basically
potty trained quick.
Yeah, so did Tua. I'd say he was basically potty trained from like 11 to 12 weeks. But honestly, it should have been before then. I don't know if you remember or if you were watching videos like way back then, but he had a UTI like pretty much the first week we took him home. Mm-hmm. So he was having accidents with that. So that kind of doesn't really count, but it does. But otherwise, he probably would have been potty trained, by week 10, maybe 10 weeks old. But it was about 11 to 12. I'd say he was pretty much fully potty trained. But that's kind of what I had written down for milestones. Okay.
Yeah, I would say Khan was fully potty trained probably about 3 to 4 weeks after we got him home. I mean, obviously, we still had to be mindful of, his age and how long he could actually hold it. But he was very conscious about not going in the house. It didn't feel right to him very early on. I think he had 1, maybe 2 accidents in the house, and since we've been here, he had 1 poop in the house, and that was on me because he was about 5 months when we got here, and I fed him and I walked away. And usually, right when they eat, they either stop mid-meal and have to go, or they go, shortly after. And I think he got probably like 3/4 of the way done and was kind of looking for me, and I was out, I think, feeding the goats or something, and he decided to just try to get to the closest door, and he just went. So potty training was good.
I'm glad you kind of brought up, like when I say potty trained by, 11 to 12 weeks, I don't mean you can just leave them alone, free reign of the house. Like this is with, they know it clicks in their head, like I can't go inside, but they can't hold it either for that long. So you still should be letting them out, every hour or two.
Yeah, exactly.
To go. It clicks in their head like I'm not supposed to go in the house, but you can't just trust them. So I guess I kind of left that out, but you brought that up, so.
You guys crate trained too, which I know a lot of people have had issues with.
Right, for whatever reason.
There's the whole movement against crate training, like it's cruel to the dog. But we crate train all of our dogs.
Then, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. A playpen or
right.
But we definitely crate train Khan.
Or go ahead.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying we definitely crate train Khan, and that helped out a lot. And I think the biggest thing is if you want to be successful with crate training for, a lot of your viewers that may be considering getting a bull mastiff or anything like that, if you want to consider crate training, you want to go smaller first. So your best bang for your buck would be to go super large with a divider. And that way you can kind of shrink the crate down. I saw that you use blockades because you lost the divider, but that works too. Yeah, just anything to keep them from going somewhere else in the crate and using their bathroom and then coming back to their spot. So you shrink it down and it makes it more of I can't go right here where I sleep. So they hold it a little bit longer and it teaches those muscles to kind of learn to contain pee instead of just going whenever they feel it.
Right.
So crate training, I'm pro crate train.
For sure. Yeah, me too. I never haven't crate trained a dog since, I've been young. Do you remember any weight milestones when he hit 50 pounds or 100 pounds?
Yeah.
Do you remember the week?
So we did some snapshots on Instagram. I was supposed to be really good about it, every Saturday, get a weight and all this stuff. And I just, after the first, I'd say 5 or 6 weeks, it started turning into just whenever I remember to do it.
Yeah.
But I know he hit 60 pounds around 19 weeks. Or actually, maybe it was 70 pounds in 19 weeks. It's all on Instagram. But, he probably, I say he took off in weight probably around the 6-month mark. I mean, it was it was a 50-pound jump in a 2 or 3 month period. It was way bigger than anything else we'd seen. I don't know if you saw a similar correlation with Tua or.
I'd have to look back at the numbers, I guess. Do you remember how old he was when he hit 100 pounds?
He was right at 7 months, I believe.
Okay.
Um,
Trying to
I know
figure
that's
out
on
the weeks.
Instagram too. But yeah, like when he hit 100 pounds, that was like a huge milestone, and he just
Yes.
kind of never stopped. It's just like this ongoing like growth patterns with these guys, and then
Right.
they just like screech to a halt.
Exactly.
Almost.
It's weird. So 7 months, then that'd probably be depending on, there's the overlapping weeks, probably 28, 29, 30 weeks old, something like that.
Mhm.
And Tua
Yeah,
was
probably
33,
something there.
33 weeks when Tua hit it. So Khan grew faster. And obviously he's going to be bigger because he's pretty close to
He's
it.
definitely shorter though. Tua's a very
Right.
tall and lean bull
Yeah.
mastiff. Khan is more short and stocky.
Sure.
He's very powerful, very low to the ground, but Tua is like almost like English mastiff status. I mean, he's
Right.
extremely
Yeah.
tall.
Which is interesting because his mom and dad weren't that tall. So I don't know, just one of those things. But let's move on to diet.
Sure.
So what I do for diet is basically just a 50-50 split. I would say I'm probably approaching though more like a 60-40. Like this morning, I might have even done like a 75-25 this morning. I gave him a lot of raw actually. I think I'm slowly gonna continue upping that, transitioning to I don't know if I'll ever be full raw like you are. I would like to. I don't know. We'll see. It's slowly transitioning that way, but it's so much work, I feel like. Maybe though, I want to. It's just a matter of getting it done, I guess. But
Yeah.
I feel like even doing the split like I'm doing that you're at least exposing them to all those, different nutrients and stuff and, natural proteins and whatever. But I'm really enjoying it. I'd never done raw with any of my dogs in the past. Had you?
So if I did, it was intermittent. It wasn't like a full raw diet. It was like, okay, you have your kibble, and then I might treat you with a chicken quarter, or I might incorporate some
Okay.
leftover scraps from maybe a steak I trimmed up or something like that.
Sure.
And that was kind of the extent of it. Khan and Noir, our other bull mastiff, those are the first two dogs, and our Great Pyrenees, obviously with the goats. Those are the first dogs that we've gone full raw on, and we started on our own, which it's time consuming. It's tough. I mean, there's a lot of sourcing for different proteins, making sure you balance everything correctly, and it's extremely difficult, especially with puppies, because their nutrient demands are completely different. Noir would need 10% of his body weight, and Khan only needs at his size 2 to 3%, similar to Cali. So they're eating substantially more. And then, as I said, just balancing your nutrients and proteins, making sure they have everything, and you're not cutting them short on the calcium and the phosphorus. So like what we ended up doing just recently, we started working with a canine nutritionist for our dogs. It's the company's name is Laboratory, Labratorrey. And basically, for those that are interested, just kind of reach out. But it was great because not only do they put your dog's diet together based on weight, breed, the breed standard, all of these different things. It's a very scientific diet. They also include ingredients that are almost impossible for raw feeders to get, like green tripe, which is basically like the juice
Heard of that.
for dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard to get unless you're working with like any type of like farmers or anything like that, where you can get, unbleached tripe. So he delivers it to us. He's up in Nevada, but they ship all over the country. He delivers it to us. It's a little bit pricier than doing it myself, but not substantially more, to where I can do better.
More convenient though. Price to pay for convenience.
And I can share generalized pricing as well. Yeah, so I would say like for a giant breed dog, like a bull mastiff, for Great Pyrenees, you can expect, in terms of raw diets, okay, he's back there crazy. You can expect probably anywhere from $300 to $500 a month. I think that's a safe bet. In terms of like what it costs per dog if you do it yourself and you're not like shopping around for deals. If you're like really shopping around for deals, you can expect about maybe $200 to $400 a month. I mean, these guys eat a lot. Khan is up to almost 6 pounds a day. Callie's up to about 5 pounds a day, and Noir is he's like 4.5 pounds a day.
Sure. Okay. Suppose let's move on to cost of ownership then, since we're talking money. So I actually made a video on this, fairly recently, and what I spent on Tua. And obviously everybody's numbers are going to be different and you can spend as much or as little as you want, to a point. But the numbers I came up with, what we spent on him from at least in the first year from we brought him home, so 8 weeks to a year and 8 weeks, was $2,884.49. And if you include the purchase price of him, which was $2,500, then the total would be $5,384.49. I guess I would say if you haven't seen that video, just watch that one because I break it down so much further and I don't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, but I broke it down.
It was a great video.
Pretty,
It was a great video.
pretty in depth. Yeah. I guess,
Yeah.
you know any of your numbers off the top of your head, or if you made any notes or.
I can ballpark it. I think we were a tad bit higher due to the type of diet that we did.
Sure.
I know you were doing Diamond Naturals initially,
For a
which is
while,
what our breeder
yeah.
used as well. Yeah, and it's a great food source if you're going with kibble. We went with Origin large beef puppy formula. We went right to it as soon as we got them
Yeah.
home. Yeah, and it's about $90 for a 25-pound bag, but
That's expensive.
it's expensive, but your dogs
Yeah.
eat so much less. So what
Sure.
I noticed was you were kind of going through and you were showing on the back of the bag, like, okay, this is what you're feeding to. Origin was about half of that. So
Sure.
for double the price, you're feeding half less. So it kind of worked out a little bit with less fillers. And then shortly after, we went straight to a raw. So I would say we were probably pushing that 5,000
Sure.
range, somewhere closer in there. We had one vet situation during that time. He got sick, like I said, around like 7 months. He couldn't keep any food down. He was just vomiting. And, took about maybe 3 or 4 days for him to get right. But that was our only emergency visit in the first year, and then pet insurance.
Sure. What was the cost of Con? How much did he
Khan
cost?
went for 25. Yeah, he went for
Okay, same as
2,500,
Tua.
which is it's about normal. You can expect between 25 and 35, depending on who you deal with and
Right.
the parents and all that,
Exactly.
But yeah, I think our breeder has essentially she's gone up in pricing since then as well. But I would say you can expect between 28 and 35 nowadays.
And probably going up every year or two, I would say, pretty consistently.
Yeah. I would agree there. Yeah.
How about training? What have you done with Con as far as training goes? Like with Tua, we're pretty much, I don't try to make him do anything crazy like he's some agility dog or, we've pretty much just done the basic commands and potty training. And he's done great. I mean, like I had a Doberman Pinscher before. They're known to be extremely, extremely intelligent and extremely easy to train. And he was. And I would say like Tua wasn't much more difficult. I mean, it was so long ago that I was actually doing, teaching from puppyhood with our Doberman. It was, going on probably 8-9 years now when he would have been a puppy. But he picked up on everything really quick. Like I said, I'm not throwing anything crazy at him, but sit, stays, comes, walking on a leash, heeling, lay down, just the normal basic stuff. And he picked up extremely quick. And I don't do it as much with them now. I should probably do it at least a little bit every day. I mean, I guess I do every day, sort of, sit and stay while you're waiting for your food, stuff like that, but not actual, doing like an actual routine or anything. But when I do, he hasn't forgot. I mean, he picks right up where he left off. Was Con?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Con, I've had several dogs in my life, and Con was definitely on the easier side. I don't think he was difficult to train.
At
What I
all.
will say is he was more, as he got into his teenage phase, he was more strong-willed than any dog
for
that I've
sure.
ever had.
Okay.
And it's not so much like he doesn't want to listen. It's almost like he's trying to figure out what happens if he doesn't.
Right.
It's it's like a come, and he's like, are you sure? He's like, no, like seriously, come. And he's like, he pushes it a little bit more, but he knows what to do. And I think the sense of urgency with bull mastiffs is because they're guardian breeds, they tend to turn it up a little bit earlier than most breeds. So you don't really have much time to like enjoy the puppy stages with them because they're growing so fast.
Yeah,
And I mean, you're talking 20 pounds a month and you only have like, basic obedience before they're 50, 60 pounds.
right.
I mean, you got no time. So with Khan, I don't do much training with him every day. I would say like, just basic good manners in the house, like you said, sitting and waiting
Yeah.
for food. Sometimes I'll push the agenda, and I'll go and all the way down the hill and I'll feed my Great Pyrenees and put his food right in front of him and make him wait maybe 4 or 5 minutes to see if
Sure.
he's going to actually do it.
Yeah.
So that's probably about the extent. No
That's a long
shit
time to
or
wait for
IPO
food.
or anything. It is, especially raw. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
we
think the
push
most
it a
I've
little
made
bit.
Tua wait is maybe like 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, we push
Uh,
it. I'll like leave and go in the house, go upstairs, brush my teeth, come back down. Like we really push it. So, um, you know, is Tua a barker for you or?
So, and I talked about this in the last video too that I did, the update one. When he's in our backyard, almost every single time we let him out now, he's finding something to bark at. But that's it. He's besides in our backyard, I've maybe heard him bark like a couple of times. But in our backyard, it's every single time almost. It's never for like an extended period of time, but he finds something that gets him going. And sometimes it's nothing. Like, and the only thing I can come up with, well, a couple things, I guess, is A, that's, his territory. That's what he was bred to do, is, be a guarding dog. And B, our yard is fenced in, so he can't see what's beyond that fence. So when he hears something, it I don't want to say startles him. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but he wants to like investigate and letting out the barks, I guess, is because in our front yard, nothing. We have them on walks and stuff, and there's people, dogs, noises, whatever, nothing. It's like our backyard and only our backyard. And even if the doorbell rings, he doesn't bark. He'll run to the door and he's excited to see what's going on, but he doesn't bark. Like that's it. I mean, how about Khan?
Khan has I wouldn't say he's a barky dog at all. I think that's been kind of that's a breed trait. They're not really
Right.
barky. We heard Khan bark a little bit earlier, but he's not allowed upstairs, so he rarely comes in our bedroom. So he barked at something in the bathroom that looked wrong to him.
Right.
But I shared that video with you that I put on Instagram the other day of his guarding behavior and when it kind of turned on.
Yep.
But
he sounded
only time
just
he
like
barks
Tua.
is-
Like the
Yeah,
exact.
yeah.
If I would have had my hand over the picture, I'd have thought it was Tua. It's funny.
Yeah, it's insane. But I shared that to show people what guarding behavior looks like. We actually did another video simulating a break-in, and it was funny because my wife was expecting something completely different. So I studied this breed extensively before we decided on this breed. We were between a couple of different ones, Cane Corso, Boer, and then Bull Mastiff. And I went with Bull Mastiff because they're just a little bit more fun. They're a little goofier and they're not as serious.
Not as
So
intense.
during this video, yeah, not as intense. And during this video, I share. Well, I didn't even share this video yet, so this is kind of like I guess not groundbreaking, but breaking news. But I put on some this mask and this beanie and everything, and I went through the back door and started beating on the door. But the lights were off, so Khan couldn't see me. And for Khan, he was just more so trying to bark to get it to go away.
Yeah.
But when I actually came into the house, one of the things that my wife was expecting Khan to do was charge me and run me out of the house.
Yeah.
But I told her Bull Mastiffs don't normally do that. They want to stay with the family. They're not roamers, essentially.
Yeah.
And as we started breaking down this video, she kind of saw like he tried to get me to go away and then started patrolling the house to check and make sure everyone was still where they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then just kept patrolling. And it was pretty dope to see him like actually do what he was supposed to do without ever being caught. It was really cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I'll share that and do the whole breakdown, but
Sure. Yeah. How about temperament then? That would be the next thing. What would you describe as temperament? Like, and how has it changed from, all the phases from the day you bring him home to the teenager phase to, where he's at now, which is maybe still kind of in the teenager phase.
Yeah, I would say initially they're very playful. They sleep a lot in the first few weeks. I mean, I would probably say he slept 70 to 75% of the day, probably until he hit about 4 months old. But he was very playful. He was very calm. Wasn't very mouthy. Didn't like nip or bark or chew that much in the very beginning. And then he kind of started going into his teenage phase. He knew all of his commands, but he was testing the waters a little bit more, trying to see where I would break. But he still remained calm. He's still great with the kids. And then now he's in this phase at about 9 months. He's getting ready to hit adulthood here pretty shortly within the next year or so. But his energy level has come all the way down.
Okay, so you're noticing that already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's come all the way down. I mean, if he goes outside and he's playing and things, he can turn it up. But just like how Tua is right now, Khan is kind of, I mean, he's exploring our bathroom, but he's essentially doing the exact same thing. Oh, let me see if I can flip this thing around. He's just exploring our bathroom. He's being cool. You know, he's quiet. All is good. But that's just kind of how they are, I guess. I mean, I've heard very similar things with other people as well.
Sure. So Tua, I guess, when we brought him home and he was very young, I would say same thing, sleeping a lot. Now he's really starting to mess with me here. He wants to play. But then when he got into that like teenage type phase that we talk about, hey, can you sit? Sit. Good. Knock it up. Which he's kind of displaying right now, just kind of wanting to mess with the kids, you know. And he's knocked our kids down many times, mostly outside when he's really running around and stuff. And I talk about that a lot too, is, you know, really watch them. I mean, any big dog in general, you're going to want to really watch them around young kids, especially when they got a head of steam going. But he's definitely slowed down a lot now. Like I even mentioned this in my last video too, between 13 and 14 months was extremely noticeable. Like he just hit a wall. Not that he doesn't want to go run around or he won't go for walks or whatever, but when he's inside 90% of the time, you know, he's just laying down, and if he's not sleeping, he's just kind of hanging out, chewing, or, you know, just watching the paint dry, watching the wind blow, you know, whatever, just hanging out, not really doing much, which is kind of typical.
Just hanging out, watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Just sit around and watch.
Right. Not really doing much. But so, and I noticed that the most, like I said, between month 13 and 14 is when it slowed down, you know, dramatically. But there definitely is a phase, or that he went through at least, where it's pretty high energy a lot of the days, you know, not every day, but, you know, half of them of a week or something, which is, you know, typical to most dogs, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I would call it more excitement than energy.
Yeah.
You know, like, not saying they don't have a lot of energy or they don't play or anything like that, but I would say the same thing for the kids. He's more like, I just want to be near you, versus like, oh, play with me, ball. You know, it's not like I do consider like a border collie or a German. You know, it's like constant stimulate me. They're just cool, just chilling out.
Yep. And Tua's definitely grown into that now. Mm-hmm. I'd say when he was younger, he definitely pushed his boundary more with the kids. Not like you said, it's more excitement than anything, and he doesn't realize how big he is. But now I would say he definitely is more just, he wants to be in the general area with them, and he's definitely calmed down a lot with them. How about pros and cons of the breed? What would you think right now? I just jotted down kind of a few things. Pros, I wrote huge dog. You know, if you're a big dog person, well, there's not too many breeds that get bigger than a bull mastiff in general. Mm-hmm. And then a con, also a huge dog, because then more expensive. Just everything is going to be more expensive because they're a huge dog. If they're pullers, they're going to pull you. You know, just everything that goes along with having a huge dog that you could think of, that would be a con, I guess. Another pro I had written down was easy to train. And you kind of said the same thing. Like, I guess I didn't really notice any difficulty with him training wise whatsoever. And then another pro I had written down was laid back. Most of the time after he got out of that puppy stage, this is kind of what he does. If we're inside, at least he just is close by and he's hanging out. Outside's kind of a different story. He's definitely more high strung outside. Uh, and then another con I had written down was, you know, when he was younger, he could potentially hurt the kids, knock them over. He never like actually hurt them, but step on their foot. You know, if that claw hits just right, I'm sure you know it can kind of hurt right on your toe or something. But that's all I had written down for the pros and cons.
So I would say pros for me, they are giant dogs. They're goofy. They have a lot of personality. They bring a lot to the table in terms of having a dog that, you know, is cool, just chilling with the family, but also having a dog that will protect the family. So there's a couple of different factors there. You got the size for the intimidation. You have the bark, which is intimidation, but you also have that fun-loving kind of goofy mastiff breed that just loves being around the family. So those are pros for me. I also I love their trainability. You know, for what I want dogs to do, I don't do the tricks and stuff like that. I mean, outside of shake and maybe a couple other little things I can make them do. I don't do tricks. It's all basic obedience. So for what I need him to do, he did it just fine. Cons, food costs. They eat a lot. And I mean, if you're not prepared, like if you haven't factored food in your budget, I mean, it's a different ball game. And the more you have, the more the love, but they eat a lot. Also the drool, you've displayed that a few times in your videos with drinking, how you have to kind of have towels kind of lying around. That's very real. I have some drool on me right here earlier. I mean, it's just, you just learn to get used to it. Similar to the baby's drool.
Right. It's more of an inconvenience than it is like
a
con
like
for me, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why he's not really allowed upstairs. Yeah, because I mean, you have furniture and carpets and all that stuff up here. You can bump up against the bed, and now there's slob on your sheet. So for us, we don't do dogs in the bed. We don't do dogs upstairs in our space. We keep that separate. But I would say that's probably a big one. Shedding for me has not been a con because he's on the raw diet. He doesn't shed much at all. I shared a video a couple days ago, just showing like I'm trying to like pull hair off this guy, like rubbing him down. Yeah, I mean they don't shed much at all if the diet is right and they're not going through anything medically. And I would just say like alertness. He's very like in tune with me and he's very in tune with my family. He's always paying attention. He doesn't really put himself first a lot of times. He's very like observant, which I love. That's a pro for me. But their bark, I mean, if a dog sees something at 2 a.m., whether it's a squirrel or a bird or whatever, and that bark comes out, it's going to wake up everybody in the house. They got a very deep bark, which can be a pro and a con. But those are the ones for me, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's just go ahead and wrap this up then.
For sure, man.
Yeah, if you do Instagram, I'm not a huge Instagram guy. I try and get on there every once in a while just to, you know, check you out is about it. My wife actually does an Instagram thing for Tua, and I honestly don't ever really even look at that. But your Instagram is what? At Con the Bull Mastiff?
Yeah, at Con the Bull Mastiff, KON. We tried to do KHAN initially, but someone got that one. So we ended up spelling KON. And that's kind of how that came about if people are wondering.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. Well, and then kind of in the intro, I said, you know, maybe we would try and make this like maybe a monthly type segment little thing.
Sure.
So if you're watching this, you have any questions for either of us or just any general statements, we'll make sure that we read those and try and hit on those in the next one. And
yeah, of course.
Go from there. But I thought this was kind of fun, just hanging out and talking bull mastiffs for a little while.
Yeah, Sean is great about getting back to people in his comments as well. Sometimes I'll jump down there and I'll chime in on things, but like Sean and I, we talk bull mastiff all the time. On Instagram, people reach out all the time about the breed and just trying to get questions answered about, you know, concerns they may have. So, I mean, we're both great resources. I mean, we're kind of firsthand owners and we're not new to dogs altogether. So.
And my big thing, like I even said when we started this, is I don't consider myself an expert, but I'm just telling you what I'm going through, and this is what worked for me. We just want to share and make
it easy.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my real world experience, but what I say isn't gospel, and just this is my advice, and take it or leave it, and just do what works for you. But that's kind of my main thing. I'm just sharing my experience with everybody, so maybe it can help you. So
Absolutely. Well, yeah,
But
thanks
yeah.
for having me on your channel, man. This has been great. I know we've been, since the beginning talking about this whole thing. Sean taught me a ton before I even got Con, just kind of what he was going through. And I'm glad that he put his channel together because, it's a great resource for people that are looking at the breed. Week to week updates. You don't get much better than that. You can't even get that in the book most of the time. So
Right, yeah.
give this guy a like and subscribe. I know this is YouTube, but this guy's the man. So,
All right. Well, I appreciate it. We'll do it again.
absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it.